Hi everyone. I'm a sailor who rents boats and a developer who builds apps. And today I want to share the story behind Navallist, an app I built to solve a very specific problem I face every time I leave the dock. I've been trained to run through a safety checklist every time I head out. That way you dig through and find where the toolbox, the fire extinguishers, and the first aid kit are. Traditionally, we use paper checklists like this. It's kind of hard to share and split up, and I've had situations where someone checks something off, but no one remembers doing it. I'm a developer, and so my instinct is to make an app. A collaborative app where multiple users can look at and act on the same information. But that doesn't really solve the problem I'm having. Sure, paper checklists have their drawbacks, but standard apps aren't necessarily better. They require your full attention. And, you have to put down whatever you're working with. You have to dry your hands. You have to scroll through and find engine and click the button and just tap a tiny box. And it's not that much of an improvement. It's just suboptimal in new ways. I wanted an interface that behaved like a crew member, just walking around with a clipboard and listening for any updates from everyone else. I wanted to be able to talk like I normally do, not speak using rigid pre-selected words. And that's where the checklist agent comes in. In the past, many voice controls were just command and control. You have to say exact phrases like check item 4. But this agent has conversational understanding. It understands context and sensory input. I don't have to be precise or rigid about what I say. I can tell it, the inverter checks out, or outlets have power, or shore power stowed. And it will understand in any case that means that these items can be checked off. It also handles more complex reasoning. I can say all the lights are working, and previous apps would balk. They don't know what all means, but the agent knows the boat's schema. It understands what constitutes a light, and navigation lights, steaming light, deck lights, and cabin lights, and checks them all off. So how do we build something that can reason like this? It's actually built on Agent Development Kit, and the architecture is incredibly clean. We start by defining the agent in Go. We use LLM agent new to initialize the model, but the most important part is this block here, the tools. We don't try to code every possible phrase a user might say. Instead, we give the agent tools. For example, one of the tools is the checklist update tool. This is a wrapper for a traditional bit of code that handles reading and writing to the underlying database. We tell the model how to use it. The traditional code is a Go interface that abstracts updating the underlying data store. I made it an interface, so if I wanted to swap out Postgres for Firestore, for example, I can just do that. The interface defines the contract, no matter what reasonably close thing I say. Oil's good. The LLM's job is to translate that into this clean, strict JSON. Item name engine oil is checked true, which the interface can then accept. Finally, we give it instructions to let it start making judgments about this space. We give it a reference for all the checklist items and how they're organized. We let the agent know what tools are available, what to use them for. We give it boundaries like don't mark an item as checked if the user is assigning it to someone, that sort of thing. And we give it examples of what to do when encountering input. By combining the reasoning power of Gemini with these deterministic Go tools, we get an app that feels less like a database and more like a crew member. It lets me keep eyes on the boat and not on my screen. This collaborative reasoning pattern extends far beyond sailing. You can apply this architecture to any domain where users need to manage shared context while their hands are busy. Construction. A site manager walking a property can say, the framing's done, and the agent updates the multiple subtasks like studs, headers, sills all at once. A family packing for a trip can say, I packed the toiletries, and the agent checks off toothbrush, toothpaste, and shampoo automatically. By combining the reasoning power of Gemini with deterministic Go tools, we get an app that feels less like a database and more like a helpful crew member. It lets users keep their eyes on the job and not on the screen. If you want to build agents like this, whether it's for sailing, coding, or your own business, you don't have to start from scratch. The pattern I showed today was built using Agent Development Kit, and you can find this full source code for these agents along with other architectural patterns right now at the link on screen. Grab the code, spin up the samples, and see what you can build. Thanks for watching.